All right, so for the primary grades, you have to be thinking about integrating reading and writing in the classroom instruction because writing challenges children to actively think about print. So you have to be thinking about ways that you're going to integrate reading and writing together so that kids can see that it's a meaningful thing to do, right? That's a challenge. So you got this, you can do it, all right? So other things to consider about the primary grades. So spelling affects children's reading ability. So working on spelling and giving kids ways that they can actually work on effective ways to spell, find patterns of spelling, not only spelling, but like word families, giving them strategies about like, okay, those are, prefixes of words, suffixes of words, those are the roots of the words, breaking words apart, giving them those direct, pieces of instruction that they can use for anything that they're going to come across. So those are very important. So spelling is huge, right? The other piece is on your right there, you have accurate assessment are used to match instruction with content learning. So you cannot just like say, I'm gonna just, teach the kids and I'm gonna assess the kids. Well, assessment has to match what you are actually teaching so that it becomes a tool for you to know if they're actually learning what you're supposed to be teaching them, right? It has to be purposeful because you would be surprised. You can spend hours and days assessing the students. You give them a paper test or a quiz, and it takes the students a long time to do those, especially if they're in the primary grades. They're starting to read and write, and they have to decode all that and make sense of what they're reading. And then at the end of the day, if you didn't really assess what you taught, you just wasted your time and the students' time. And that learning time is really, really, really precious. So just be careful with that. All right. And what to expect at the end of third grade? So that's a good question, right? Kids have so much that they have to do with the primary grades, but in the third grade, there's a lot of other things that are going to happen. For example, there will be seat assessments they're going to be having to do. There is a lot more, demands that they have to meet. Books become all of a sudden chapter books, no more picture books like they used to have. They have to be doing research. They go from, reading more literary books to non-literary books like nonfiction. So they're reading about content, they're reading about science, they're reading about social studies and the world, geography, they're reading about things that interest them. So you need to be preparing them for that. So you have to be matching your assessment and your objectives to what, actually is happening in the classroom. So just be thinking about that. Now to your left here, I have children progress in reading with a systematic instruction and meaningful reading. So for you to teach them reading, you're going to have a systematic way of teaching them. So that can be maybe following some sort of program for reading where you're going to follow steps. So not like a random kind of thing like, oh, today I'm going to teach vowels, tomorrow I'm going to teach consonants. Is that how it works? Well, it might work for one student, but it might not work for all. So it's better if you work within, a program of, reading, or some sort of like maybe you have books that have a way to increase the way that, they're learning like the sounds and the consonant blends. And so the combination of sounds and so on and so forth. So just kind of think about how you're going to go about that. Okay, it helps if you have something to follow, all right? Or you have to meet with your team and decide how are you going to teach reading. And then, so it says systematic instruction. So same way, in a way that makes sense. It's a system. And then meaningful reading, that means reading that makes sense. So that's huge. If you don't make sense of what you're reading, you're not learning. So you got to make sure that the kids are understanding what they're reading. Next one, reading skills. You gotta be developing those, or make sure that they're developing those. So fluency is huge. It's how fast you can read, how fluent you can be as a reader. Expression, do you read as a reader, or are you reading like a robot, right? The next one is accuracy, right? And then comprehension. Those are pieces that are really, really important, okay? Next one, metacognitive strategies. Metacognition means the brain, thinking about your thinking. So are you giving students strategies to be thinking about their thinking? So for example, making predictions, what's gonna happen next in the story? Self-correction, can they correct their own reading? Like if they make a mistake, they read the wrong word and it makes no sense, can they on their own realize that they made a mistake and self-correct? Reread and ask questions when they don't understand. Those are things you want to teach them. Okay, so they are going to be independent learners. You want to teach them, you want to read with them, but you want them to become lifelong learners, and that means that they're going to be on their own. And then reading proficiency is another topic. Independent reading, select books. Do they know how to select their own books? Not too difficult, not too easy. Books that interest them, the right topics for their interest, for their study, for whatever they're doing at the time. Do they know how to choose, right? And independent writing. So make sure that you're making connections with the writing. And then peer reading. Reading with somebody else. It's so much fun having a buddy to read with, right? Partner reading by far in my classroom was always one of their favorite things to do. Read with a partner so you can read together about something fun. You can talk about it and you can like have an elbow buddy, or, you know, just kind of sit together at a corner, find a pillow, you know, around the room. That is so much fun. I think kids have really good memories of moments like that when they can figure out, like, you know, a spot in the room where they can read with somebody that they care about, and they read about something that they really enjoy. Because reading should be for pleasure. We're not just reading to read, or reading to learn, or learning to read. We're reading for pleasure, and we're reading with a purpose. So remember that, okay? All right. I know you're thinking so many things right now. Now I want you to reflect on your own experiences as a learner. Did you have those experiences as a learner? Did you read for pleasure? I remember reading books because my teachers needed me to read a book for a test, for whatever topic in class. Sometimes those were not really fun. When I got to read books that I wanted, then, oh wow, it was so much fun, right? Super fun. So think about that. How can you include choice within your classroom, but still keeping those choices within their range of reading, not too difficult, not too easy, right at their level, right? That's something we can talk more about in the next few classes, but how to choose their reading level. What are those levels? We can talk more about that. The Writer's Workshop is one of my favorite strategies because not only a strategy, I don't think I should say that Writer's Workshop is a strategy. Writer's Workshop is one of my favorite frameworks. That would be a better way to explain it, because it is that time of the day, and it can be done every single day, all right? And I used to do that every single day in my classroom, where you get to do a mini lesson and you give your students your input. You can teach something specific you want them to learn. You can even tailor to a theme or a topic that you are studying, and you can have an integration of content that way. But the beauty of this framework is that it's part of the balanced literacy approach. And it's really great because you get to see your students' work and their culture and their backgrounds come to life. And that's why I really recommend that you learn about the Writer's Workshop, that you try it out, and you try that with younger students, and so you can do it in primary grades, and you can even adapt that for your little learners. That would be something really great to try. So let's learn a little bit more about the Writer's Workshop. what is the writing workshop or writer's workshop? So you can see in this picture, you can see the kids, probably in this image, they were writing their own individual writing at that point, right? So they had already done, for example, the whole class lesson. And then at that point, the teacher probably is meeting with a student in a small group or individually, right? And the others are doing their work because that's the time that they have to continue their writing that they started. One piece of writing is going to take several days for them to go through the process. So they're going to go through the process of brainstorming, drafting, revising and editing, writing a final draft, and then publishing. And of course, my favorite, the author's chair. What is writing workshop? So writing workshop is a student-centered framework for teaching writing that is based on the idea that students learn to write best when they write frequently for extended periods of time on topics of their own choosing. So that's kind of how I would say, you know, I would just define writer's workshop. It's an awesome model. I love the word awesome for this one. It doesn't describe it as it should, but awesome is a very positive word, very cool word, right? Now, look at this example right here. I had something very similar in my classroom. Each student had their own clothespin. I didn't have different colors like that, like green, red. I had just a regular clothespin color. But as I did have two groups, I had a morning group and an afternoon group. They did have different sides. So one group was on the left side, the other group was on the right side. And as you can see, on top it says the writing process, right? So first they have to do planning, and then next they have drafting, and then revising, and then editing, and finally publishing. And then they go through that process. I love how they have the connectors first, next, then, and then finally. That helps the students with their writing already. So it's a really good visual way to go about it. For the younger learners, you can even have images to help them kind of go through the process. Maybe for the younger learners, they just need to write a sentence or a word. So it might be a little different, right? So you have here on the right side the components of writing workshop. So what does that entail? So the first 10 to 15 minutes of the workshop, it's what I call the mini lesson, right? You're delivering a mini lesson, try to make it easy and simple and short, because students, you know, they have very short attention span. So if you're teaching a group of preschoolers, maybe it's a word or a word family kind of writing workshop lesson, maybe make it 5 minutes instead of 10 to 15, depending on how old they are. Then you have the status update. So where are you? Are you drafting? Are you, you know, are you planning, drafting, revising, editing? Are you publishing? Are you ready for the author's chair to share with everybody? That takes 3 to 5 minutes. I would have a clipboard and I would go name by name. Joanne, where are you? Okay, draft. What about John? Oh, I am, you know, publishing. So I would just write, I had letters, P for publishing, E for editing, and I had that kind of spreadsheet going. Had several sheets already printed and ready to go, so it would be quick. Literally, it would take 35 minutes. After that, you have the writing time, which is 20 to 45 minutes for the older students. For the younger students, maybe less, of course. Or if you do give them 20 to 45 minutes, you should have more adults, or you have a rotation of small groups that you can do. With your, you know, helper if you have another adult in the room, or you can do it just yourself and you're rotating the room and you're giving them the extra attention that they need for differentiation. So it's awesome. And then the most important part, because we want to know that students have a purpose for sharing, for writing. So it's the time that they share. They're writing because they want to share. They want others to know their story. They want others to know that they wrote that piece for a reason, because it's funny, because it's informative, because it's, you know, exciting. So 5 to 15 minutes, sometimes more. Sharing is the time that everybody has something to say. So just be aware that might take a little longer. So if you're a good timekeeper, To do that, you might assign a student to be the timekeeper, okay? Give them a timer, maybe wear, a little timer around their neck, and then they can be the timekeeper. You can use your phone, you can time it, and just make it fun, all right? Really cool. Right, or words, or let them start to use those words and then help them write the words in English. Why not? Right? It's not a big deal. It's how it should be. If we're using one language to bridge the next language, the other language, so that way you have that connection. Your brain is going to make connections, as many connections as possible. If you're allowing that in the classroom, that's how you're going to promote the language acquisition. So I would say let them use both languages as much as possible. Okay. Now, teaching reading and comprehension to English language learners, how does that work? How do you teach reading and comprehension to English language learners? You're probably wondering, what am I going to do if I have an ELL student in my class? Or you might be a student, you might be a teacher already serving students that speak other languages, and you're wondering, how can I, help them reach that goal, right? Let's watch this video and see some of those strategies that can be used. Okay, let me go back. Oh my goodness, there you go.
The challenge is that our teachers and administrators are not prepared to teach and work with English language learners. They didn't come out of programs that prepared them to do so.
The assumption is that if a child comes here, even if they have limited English, there's certain words, phrases, things that they understand. But the workshop reinforced and reminded me that, they come in with a blank slate for our language.
These strategies are designed for mainstream teachers who have quite a few English language learners in their classrooms. Vocabulary is critical for teaching reading, phonemic awareness, phonological awareness. All those features of fluency are dependent on word knowledge. Which are the critical words that will help the students immediately get into reading and begin to comprehend the text?
So what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to ping pong with your partner across from you at the table. The sentence is, I see a quadrilateral in the room as blank. So you're going to look around the room and I want you to point out a quadrilateral that you see to your classmate for 1 minute until I tell you to stop. Go.
When the teacher's up there, she tells us everything, but when we're back here ping-ponging to each other, we get to express what we think about it.
If we express how we want to do it, it helps us really good, because if we don't know how she's doing it, we can use our way to figure it out.
We had to select words to teach. We had to teach key vocabulary so that students can now go into the reading and begin to build comprehension. This partner reading is sentence by sentence, alternating sentences. Buddy number 1 will read one sentence, buddy number 2 will read the sentence, and then we go back and forth, back and forth.
Conclusion, consequence.
For a child that comes in that is not speaking English yet, that's having trouble with the language at this point, what are your recommendations?
Here's what I would do, again, with newcomers. She'll be sitting in the middle, and at first, maybe for a week or so, they'll be reading 1, 2, 1, 2. She'll be tracking. Then the following week, you'll see her lips start to move.
What
The fact that you reminded them and then you helped her figure out the shadow reading, that was important because she hadn't quite figured it out until you did that.
She moved to America 2 days before she started school, and to have her feel confident to read that with the two English speakers, I mean, it's nice to see.
How do we engage students in writing? How do we get them interested in writing? And how does that writing connect to the reading, the vocabulary, everything that we've been doing prior to writing? The write around is similar to the round table. Once I give you that sentence starter, you're going to finish the sentence and then pass the paper to the right. What's the purpose of the write around?
What I saw is one, collaboration again, but two, also reading what somebody wrote, understanding what somebody wrote, and making sure that what you wrote had that connection with it, but at the same time ensuring that the vocabulary that we just learned was incorporated in what I was about to write.
My teachers used some of the strategies that they recently learned in a session with Dr. Calderon, and I'm just very pleased. I'm very excited as the principal to see them working and engaged at such a high level. The teachers were really providing rigorous instruction to the students, and the students were giving back and they were engaged. So they're not just strategies that the teachers are going to keep within their four walls, but it's things teachers can now take and use and share with one another.
What a great video, right? I really liked it. I hope you did too. So anyway, I am going to go back to my slides. So these are some of those things you can do with your students. Just think about ways you can help them, you know, with their reading and their comprehension. There might be tons of other strategies that we can talk more about next time, next class. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video today about the ELLs and the reading and writing strategies. There's so much more to share. I mean, we could be doing this all day and night. It's so much fun. But just to wrap up about the English language learners, there's 14 things I want you to know about. And the first one is provide a welcoming classroom environment. So how important is that, right? So when you have, you know, students coming from different cultural backgrounds and different language backgrounds, feeling welcome is like first thing. You gotta feel welcome to feel that you can learn. So that's number one. Like when the first day you started this class, you know, I hope that you felt, you know, welcome to participate and, you know, be part of this group and do your assignments and know that you can be supported in class by your instructor. So it's important that you feel that way, right? So everybody needs that. And so if you come from a different cultural background and different language, that's even more important. Number two, know and include the student. Try to communicate with that student, include the student in as many activities as you can. There was a time years ago that if you didn't know what to do with the student, oh yeah, just leave the student right there on the side, you know, just, you know, like sitting right there. He or she is going to learn eventually. Well, that's no excuse. We shouldn't be leaving students just sitting there one day, hoping that they'll catch up one day. That's not okay, right? So know and include the student. That's like super important. Number three, modify your speech. Of course, you're not going to be talking like super slow, but you can modify your speech and be more comprehensible, be more, you know, thoughtful about the way that you're speaking so that, you know, your students can understand you, maybe use more gestures. So it's really important that you try to do that. Number four, provide opportunities for interaction. So Provide ways that the student can have interaction with other students, with you. That's really key, right? Because if you don't interact, how are you going to learn? You don't need to communicate. You don't really talk. You don't need to engage in communication and conversation, so you won't try, right? Then number 5, support literacy development. Well, you should be supporting that student in many different ways. Things around the room, labels, bringing books that have, like, you know, characters from that culture, maybe books from that culture, with that language, the same language as the student or students. Represent those languages in the classroom so that it makes it easier. Maybe have somebody from the community that can help the student on the first days, and you know, during that transition time. It's really important. Just try to reach out. You know, community will come and help. It's really cool. And then number 6, the reading instruction. Well, sometimes you just have to really wait a little, and then try to, you know, wait for that oral development to happen. The student is going to be listening, you know, to everything you say. So the oracy, the listening and the speaking will develop first, and then the reading and the writing next. So that takes 5 to 7 years, and you just need to, like, really know that it might take a while. So you're going to have to scaffold every single thing that you do, and then just kind of be patient, right? And then development of writing skills will come with time. Probably after reading instruction, or connected with the reading instruction, reading and writing will come together, but first oral language, right? Then 8, support ELLs in the content areas such as math, social studies, and science. Sometimes they come with the knowledge of those topics from their culture. The way they do math in their country might be a little different, but might be very similar. So you can tap into that. Sometimes vocabulary words might be similar because it's the area of the content area. Social studies, they might know history or geography from other parts of the world. They might know how to make connections. You have a lot that you can find out if you really get to know your students. And we go back to, like, number 2, right? On top, no include the students. So go back to square 2 right there. Number 9, vocabulary development. Huge. Teach your students the words. Teach meanings. Have images to go with your words. Visuals are very important. So have real images, not cartoons. Have real nonfiction images of what you're trying to teach. Okay? And then number 9, build and connect background knowledge. Try to know what they know and try to make that connection for them so they can learn. Then 11, modify the text. Modify text so that the level of reading is not as difficult and as advanced than, you know, other students are having access to. Make it easier and more accessible. That's important. That's called differentiation. You have to differentiate the learning. 12, provide framework for understanding. Provide ways for that student to make sense of the information. Provide different ways. Provide structure. Maybe a graphic organizer will help that student. Maybe have notebooks in place. Maybe have things around the room, places where things go, that will give the student support in the framework for understanding how things are. And then 13, build autonomy by teaching learning strategies. Teach them how to learn. It's the metacognition, learning about how to think. Teach them that they're learning about making a prediction, so the way they're thinking about the story. So how are they gonna learn, about the book? Like, teach them about, like, how to, you know, navigate the cover of the book. Teach them how to talk about the story, and teach them why it's important to do those things and why they're doing those things. So build autonomy by teaching learning strategies. and then they can teach each other. Have them know strategies for teaching each other. They become tutors, right? The highest level of learning is teaching. I'm going to say that again. You can write that down. The highest level of learning is teaching. No wonder a professor or a teacher becomes an expert year after year after year. The more I teach this class, or the more I teach curriculum development, the more I teach about English language learners, the more I learn about the content myself, the more I realize that those things that I talk about make sense because I'm going over that same topic over and over and over again, right? I become an expert. So the highest level of learning is teaching. So number 13 is build autonomy by teaching learning strategies. Teach them how to learn. Okay? And 14, last but not least, very important, modify assessments. The way you're assessing your students doesn't have to be a paper pencil test. Do a presentation. They can present. They can stand in front of the class. They can talk to each other. Look at this image that I have in the PowerPoint that Mrs. Miranda has for us. She put this PowerPoint together, this beautiful PowerPoint together. Thank you, Mrs. Miranda. It is awesome. The kids look like they're presenting, sharing with each other. They're reading a book together. I see words behind the kids. I see kids from different cultures represented in this picture. They don't have to be doing a paper pencil test. You can do assessments in many different ways. So another question is, what are you assessing? Oral language, or are you assessing literacy? So is it oracy or is it literacy? And then how can they show their work? Do they have to write a 5-paragraph essay, or can they put a poster together with sentences or small paragraphs? Can they have images? Can they create a PowerPoint? Can they create a video? So there's different ways that they can represent the way they learn. And can they maybe talk to you about what they learned? Can they share the information with an adult? Can they go home and read a story to somebody and then that person can sign a piece of paper? I mean, there's so many ways that you can have students share what they know and then be assessed. Okay, so modify assessments and tests. Do not do paper pencil all the time, or computer tasks all the time, or the same kinds of assessments. Okay, so it's tiring. You get tired of the same stuff, they get tired of the same stuff. So change it up, make it amazing. If you're teaching the little ones in early learning center, you can do awesome things for them. You need to test them with the flashcards for the ABCs. Do something different. Maybe you can dance about the ABCs instead. Does that make sense? Change the modality, the way that you teach them and assess them, the same exact content. Get creative. Integrate. All right? Okay. All right, to wrap up, we have an intentional read aloud in Spanish using the storybook, Los Cinco Patitos by Maria Soriano. Okay, so this is gonna wrap up our class right here. And then after this, I'm going to show you what's coming up next, okay? And then we're gonna be done, all right? So let's see this intentional read aloud in Spanish using the storybook Los Cinco Patitos. The assignment for this class is going to be posted on Canvas. So you watch this video and then it's gonna be on Canvas. And if you wanna know more about the assignments coming up and then what's coming up next, go to our syllabus, okay? This is class 5, look at class 6 and class 7, class 8. It's right there for you. It's easy to see. All right, so let's see this read aloud and then we'll be done. All right, are you ready? Okay. Think about the strategies that she's using, even if you don't know Spanish, okay? Think about what the kid is doing, the child is doing, what the teacher is doing, and about the story. Even if you don't know the language, try to notice the body language and the strategies that she's using with the child.
Yo seleccioné este libro de los 5 patitos porque el propósito para mí es enseñar a los niños los primeros números para que se les haga más fácil después continuar con más. Mi plan en este libro es que los niños aprendan a contar por lo menos del 1 al 5 y me iré deteniendo en cada página a hacerles preguntas sobre qué miran, sobre cuántos patitos hay, para que ellos vayan contando cuántos hay y cuántos nos faltan. El niño al que le voy a leer esta historia se llama Braxton Cantu, es un niño de 3 años. Este libro de los 5 patitos. En este libro te va a enseñar a contar. Vas a saber contar del 1 al 5, ¿ok? A ver, mira, vamos a ver. Mira, dice, 5 patitos dando aleteo. Una mañana fueron de paseo. A ver, ¿qué puedes ver aquí? ¿Cuántos patitos hay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Buen trabajo. Y puedes mirar que hay más aquí. ¿Qué es esto?
Froggy.
Una froggy. ¿Y qué más hay? ¿Qué es?
Mami Ducky.
Mami Ducky. ¿Qué está haciendo la Mami Ducky?
He didn't change it.
Ok, ¿quieres ver la otra página? Vamos a ver. Dice, mamá Pata lo llamó, pero cuac, 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 cuac. Solo 4 ella contó. ¿Qué pasó con el otro? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está el otro? ¿No sabes? A ver, cuéntalos, a ver cuántos están.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4. ¿Qué pasó con el otro patito? ¿Qué piensas que pasó?
Hello.
¿No sabes?
Moth Ducky?
¿Mami Ducky?
No. Moth and Ducky? 5?
5. ¿Dónde está el otro? ¿Dónde está el 5?
I don't know.
You don't know. A
And
ver,
Mommy.
con mami. Vamos a mirar en la otra página a ver si lo encontramos, ¿ok? Mira, dice, 4 patitos dando aleteo. Una mañana fueron de paseo. 4. ¿Qué más puedes mirar?
Mommy!
¿La Mami Ducky? ¿Qué está haciendo?
This is your dress.
¿Sus dress? ¿La otra página? Ok. Mamá Pata los llamó.
Oh.
Ok, hasta aquí.
1, 2, 3.
3. A ver, déjame leerte aquí. Siéntate para aquí poquito. Más aquí. Thank you. Dice, mamá Pata lo llamó, pero cuac, cuac, cuac. Solo 13 ya contó. Oh, ¿qué pasó? ¿Dónde están los otros? Ya nomás tenemos 3. ¿Cuántos nos faltan?
1, 2, 3.
3. Ok, 3 patitos dando aleteo. Una mañana fueron de paseo. Sí, a ver, ¿cuántos estamos aquí?
1, 2, 3.
3. ¿Qué es esto?
Cow.
Cow. ¿Y qué es esto?
Mommy Ducky.
Mami Ducky. Dice, mamá Pata lo llamó.
Fire.
Fire, ¿dónde está la fire? There. ¿Puedes agarrar tú la fire? ¿Tú la puedes tocar con tus manos? No, ¿por qué?
Mommy.
¿Por qué no puedes agarrar la fire con tus manos?
Right there.
La mami right
The
there.
mommy right there.
Ok. Mira, dice, mamá Pata los llamó, pero cuac, cuac, solo 2 ella contó. ¿Dónde están esos 2? ¿Los miras?
1, 2.
A ver, enséñame dónde. ¿Dónde? Oh, ahí están 2. ¿Qué pasó con los otros 3?
No.
You don't know. A ver, hazte un poquito para aquí. Poquito. Dice, 2 patitos dando aleteos. Una mañana fueron de paseo. ¿Dónde están? ¿Los miras? ¿Qué es?
Rabbit.
Rabbit. ¿Qué más miras?
Mommy.
Mamita aquí, ok. La otra página. Mamá Pata lo llamó. Uno. Pero cuac. Solo uno ella contó. Oh, solo uno. ¿Y dónde están los otros?
Sí, it's gone.
It's gone. Se fueron.
Sí.
Oh, no. Vamos a mirar qué pasa en la otra página. A ver, dale vuelta. Dice, un patito dando aleteo. Una mañana se fue de paseo. Se fue solito. ¿Qué está haciendo, mamita aquí?
Cocina.
Cocina. ¿Qué está cocinando? ¿Tú sabes qué es esto?
¿Eso?
¿Qué es?
¿Qué es?
A ver, dime.
¿Qué es? ¿Qué es?
A ver, ver. Ir a ver. ¿Qué color es este?
Apple.
Apple. Es una apple. ¿Qué color?
Green and orange. I mean, red.
Green and red. Oh, va a ser un pastel. A ver, hazte un poquito aquí. Thank you. A ver qué sigue en la next página, porque teníamos solo un patito. A ver. Mamá Pata lo llamó, pero ningún patito contó. Oh, ya no tiene ninguno. Mira, ¿qué pasó? La próxima página. Ok. Mande. Mira, ¿qué? ¿Nada? Hasta aquí, pues. Ven. Vamos a ver la próxima página a ver qué pasó. Una mañana muy tempranito, mamá Pata buscó a los patitos. Mamá Pata los llamó. It's gone. Oh, está solita, ¿verdad? Los está buscando a sus bebés.
Sí.
A ver, vamos a ver qué pasa. Y muy contenta.
Quack, quack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5.
¡Yay!
¡Yay! ¡Sí los encontró!
Sí.
¡Wow! ¿Está feliz mamá Pata?
Sí.
¿Qué les preparó para cenar? Mira, ¿qué les preparó?
He did 5.
Están 5. A ver, cuéntamelos otra vez, por favor.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
¡Wow! Mamá encontró a sus 5 patitos.
Sí,
¡Padre!
sí,
¿Y les hizo cena? Mira qué están haciendo aquí.
Chicken.
Chicken. ¿En la cocina? ¿Qué están haciendo? ¿Se terminó? ¿Y aquí qué pasó? ¿Están sleeping? ¿Cuántos? 6. ¿Piensas que 6 o 5? A ver, cuéntalos de nuevo con tu dedito.
1.
Con el dedito, para que puedas saber cuándo. A ver.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
¿Contamos de nuevo?
No.
A ver.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
¿Cuántos tenemos?
5.
5 patitos. Muy bien. Buen trabajo. ¿Te gustó el libro? ¿Te gustó?
Sí.
All done. ¿Te gustó? ¿Qué aprendiste?
Todo.
¿Todo aprendiste? Eso es mucho. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó?
What the?
¿Qué pasó?
He's gone.
¿Se fueron? Oh, no. ¿Piensas que mamá los va a encontrar?
Sí.
¿Su mamá Pata los va a
Sí,
encontrar?
dice mi campantito.
¿Oh, sí?
Sí.
¿Tu mima, tu grandpa y tu tío Víctor?
Sí. He driving.
¿O ellos manejan?
Sí, he driving.
Y los van a ir a buscar.
All right. Okay, so let's take a look at our syllabus. All right. So what's coming up for us? Let me make sure that you can see my screen. Let's see. my dashboard right here. All right, I think you can see it now. All right, so let's take a look at this. You can see, yeah, okay, so you can see that. Perfect. So we have for the next classes that we're meeting. Let me go back over here. We have our syllabus. So today we finished class 5, right? So class 5, right here. So class 6, we will have a Canvas activity, all right? There will be an online discussion and an online assignment, all right? We will be reading chapter 11 of our book about individual and group differences in language and literacy. And then we're gonna be covering the topic motivational issues in speaking, reading, and writing for ELLs. And then our following class will be class number 7. And there will be 2 presentations, group C and group D for the journal article presentations. So I'm super excited to know what those are gonna be about. So that day also we're going to be covering individual and group differences in language and literacy, more specifically social cultural issues in speaking, reading and writing, and literacy and family connections. That's a good topic, really fun. And then ELLs, and then we're gonna talk about our midterm literacy box project. So be ready with your literacy box project. So again, if you don't know where that's at, when you are in our Canvas, right here, you can go to, on Canvas, you go to modules. I posted that under class 4, themed boxes, dioramas, curriculum, PDF. You will see examples of what those themed boxes are. You're gonna put together a box that will have literacy examples for a particular theme. You can go with, something you're working on with the kids. If you're doing the curriculum development class at this time, it could be something that you are developing for that class. You could bring that this way, to this class. And basically, it will show you how to develop a theme box. Okay, selecting a theme box. So see, keeping parents informed. So you go through this document, you can download it too. Just click right here, download it, take a look at this and have some fun. It can be a check-in, check-out box. And then you can have toys and objects in there, books to share, stuff for the box. Like, you should just take a look at this PDF document. It has so many great ideas. You're gonna love it. All right, so I think that's it for me. Your assignment for the week is going to be under class number 5. I'm going to post that right now really fast. I'm just gonna add this module down here, and then your assignment's going to be down here. All right, so I'm gonna create a Dropbox really fast. Dropbox, online assignment. Five. Well, actually, it's online assignment number 3 because it's our 3rd assignment, but it's class 5, right? If that makes sense. And then I'm gonna open that. And then that's where you're gonna drop your assignment, and I'm gonna post what the assignment is right there for you. You're gonna click on it, and it's gonna have to do with this video that you just watched. And I am gonna thank you for watching this video, and I hope that you learned a lot about reading and writing and English language learners in the Writers Workshop. And get ready for your, for the literacy boxes. I can't wait to see what you're gonna come up with, and have a great, great week, and see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.